Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays the Binding of Isaac AFTERBIRTH Plus. Didn't do so well on that last run. We gotta play Apollyon again, I'm sorry. To only accomplish one objective on an episode is an embarrassment. LWYD1MD2. To be fair, we did over-push ourselves, we exerted too hard. We were talking such large game. Oh, we're gonna do Boss Rush, we're gonna do Mega Satan, maybe we'll do the Void after that, we'll definitely kill Blue Baby and Isaac, maybe Hush as well. Okay, so, I mean, we had great stats, we just took way too much damage. That was very dumb, because we certainly have not had the pause button. The pause button is also a surprising, like, 10 out of 10 item. It needs two enablers. It needs an orbital and then something that charges it faster. If you get both of those, you're in dreamland. So what we've done is we've got like a bootleg version of it. Once every 6 rooms we can use it. It would still be nice to at least have the opportunity to use it against enemies who are, I guess, particularly egregious or annoying. We also could have just rolled with it, but it didn't feel like that was the right idea to me. You know, as Apollyon, I respect the Void. I appreciate the Void. It's a cool item. Don't try to hide it. Diamonds on the soles of the shoes. Hey, easy there, mister. I wish I had anecdotes. I don't really have too many anecdotes, to be honest with you. It's a Monday. Monday's like, it's the valley of my week as far as anecdotes go. I did go to the grocery store today. I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't like to tell my grocery store anecdotes when they're ageist. A lot of my grocery store anecdotes, I'm sorry to say, I went to the grocery store at noon on a Monday. Or 1 on a Monday, I guess. I came back with a lot of anecdotes that could be perceived as ageist. Like, I don't want to tell the anecdote about how I was in line behind a couple that were, you know, they appeared to be in their 60s. And when the cashier said, "Do you have your rewards card?" the husband turned to his wife and said, do we have a rewards card, honey?" And then she said, "I don't know, why don't you look?" And then he pulled out his wallet, and I don't even know what he was looking for, because apparently they've never been to this grocery store before. They didn't know what it looked like, and she was like, "I think it says more on it," and he's looking through like 1,000 cards, and then he goes, "No, I guess we don't have it." And I'm like, that's cool. I mean, the way I told the story, I do just want to say, was about 5 times faster than it actually interacted in real life. It's okay. You know, it's not like it ruined my day. It did mean that I spent an extra 45 seconds at the grocery store. And selfishly, that bothers me a little bit. But it's also because of someone else's selfishness that they, you know, don't even remember if they have the rewards card that it's an issue. Like, I'll level with you, and maybe this makes me low testosterone in the eyes of the internet. I have a rewards card, but there are times when it's, you know, I check my wallet, I don't see it in 5 seconds, I got 10 people behind me, I go, "You know what? Sorry, I don't have it." And then they just buzz me in, and I take my hit. Sometimes I've left it at home accidentally, or I don't even know, I got somebody else's wallet. Look, it never happens, because I go prepared to the grocery store. When I hit the cashier. It's not what I mean, but when it's my turn, I have 3 things in my hand. I have my credit card, I got my parking slip so that they can validate it and I get $3 off my groceries, and I have my more rewards card. I hold my own credit card, I pass the other 2 things to the cashier, he or she passes them back. It's pretty bad. I appreciate the fire rate up, I appreciate the HP up, everything else quite painful. Yeah, no way we're making it through that. But I looked and some of them scattered and went up so soon. Okay, well, we get to choose where we'd like to stand. And they gotta reverse themselves. Just please don't ruin this deal with the devil for me. Like, it's never... I do want to point out, I'm aware that a lot of my anecdotes, particularly in public places, make me sound petty. It's not petty. I'm in like a Frank Grimes sort of situation. you know, from The Simpsons. He's the guy who goes to work at the nuclear power plant and notices that despite Homer's incompetence, he's climbing the ranks and he's beloved by his coworkers. And Frank Grimes is doing everything right, trying to be like a responsible citizen, but also good to his coworkers, but nobody seems to like or respect him. And he meets a tragic end. You know, when I drive to get where I'm going, but I also endeavor not to inconvenience or endanger people. I think most people are probably in that camp, but it doesn't seem like it every time you go there. Every time you drive, I should say. When I go to the grocery store, you know, and I'm on the conveyor belt, I don't make the cashier do any extra work. You know, that's not their responsibility. That was insanely lucky, by the way. That's not their responsibility. I'll load the stuff onto the conveyor belt. I'll hold the cat litter for you. And then you can just scan it and I'll put it back in the cart. That's the way it should be. So when other people, you know, by not taking the extra second to think about, you know, the way that their interaction is going to go, inconvenience 20 or 30 people in turn, I find it mildly annoying. It's not like I go to sleep and I'm like, oh, I can't believe the jerk at the grocery store. Hold me back. It's not like that. I'm just saying. You know, I have been there, I'll admit. Sometimes you ever go to like a trendy food place and not understand how to order, and you can hear the people behind you like laughing. It's like the first time I ordered poke, I was like, I'll have an Aloha bowl, please. And they're like, okay, one Aloha bowl, what do you want in it? And I was like, the things on the board? That's like the thing, I want the things I ordered to be in the poke bowl if possible. And then they go, well, yeah, but then the bowl starts with a tuna base and a little pineapple. Then you go to this second section and you pick an artisanal grain. And then you can have one of the furikake or the togarashi seasoning. And then avocado's an extra $3.75. But if you get an avocado with the seaweed salad, then it's $2.50 each, so it's a bit of a bargain. And then, of course, do you want that in big kahuna size, or do you want a regular, or do you want a miso size? And I go, oh, geez, Louise, like, I like any, you know, there's a sandwich place in Vancouver, embodies my, like, ideal customer service experience. Even the store name. And this is, by the way, their business is not hurting. This is not going to be the best thing that's ever happened to them. It's busy all the time. Not a sponsor. Don't need to be when you make products this good. The place is called Meat and Bread. They've expanded. I think they have a Seattle location now. Pretentious sandwiches, but delicious sandwiches. And when you go in, you say about 6 words the entire length of the transaction. All of the porchetta sandwich. Okay, for here to go. To go. That's it. 40 seconds later, you have a freshly carved porchetta sandwich with a little, you know, crispy pork skin and some chimichurri. It's delicious. It's fast. It's about $13 a sandwich, so it's a sometimes treat. But I'm telling you, that's more my speed, man. I always get intimidated sometimes. Like, in Vancouver, there's so many like cool coffee shops. And, you know, maybe you've heard of them. Like, there's this really neat place. It's got, like, a lady as the logo. It's called Starbucks. They serve all kinds of weird and exotic coffees. Anyway, no, I'm joking. It's basically like a boulangerie or a patisserie that you might see in Paris. No, but there's all these cool coffee shops. And this is a little, you know, insight into my brain, I suppose. But the number one anxiety that I get in those places is not knowing where to stand to order and where to stand to pick up. Every time I go in, I have to be like, are you in line? And they're like, no, I'm not in line. I'm waiting for my drink. And I go, are you in line? And they go, I'm in line for the bathroom. And I go, okay, well, you didn't need to say that. You could have just said, no, it's a little too much information if you ask me. By the way, great run so far. Of my own design, did we hurt ourselves on this one, but still, it's quite painful right now. 2.5 damage. Anyway. And then you order, and they don't have, like, an area that you can stand, so you just kind of have to mill about the coffee shop waiting for your order, and then eventually they're like, Ryan, and they come and hand you, like, a croissant or something wrapped up. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to, like, walk around. I just want to stand off to the side of the counter. This feels like I'm trespassing or something. People are looking at me like, did he order something, or did he just walk in off the street? I'm not talking about like a Tim Hortons. Typically, they have ample real estate. You order, they give you your drink, you're out. I'm talking about, you know, like the Argyle Cafe. You walk in and it's like 6 square feet. I'll take a drip coffee, please. Wee, wee. That's the drip coffee alarm with a strained voice. Hey, boys, we got a drip coffee guy here. Hey, was Tim Hortons closed? Oh, you please, I just really wanted a coffee. I didn't... Hey, why don't you get an Americano or something? Get out of my way, nerd. Okay. This literally never happens. I did have one situation. You know, I live in a hipster town. I'm a little bit of a hipster myself. But I'm like, I don't know, like a level 4 hipster. And a lot of people here are like level 10, prestiged. So like I went to a coffee shop once. Kate was like really ill. So she was like, can you please get me like water, and I'm just gonna sit on this bench. So I went to a coffee shop that was nearby, and I was like, I'll take an iced coffee. And, well, I mean, I don't want to just go in and ask for a water. I mean, they're a business here. And a glass of water, or like a cup of water. So they gave me both, but no lids. And I said, excuse me, do you guys have lids? And the dude went like, like, first off, what do you think, I'm an idiot? Of course we got lids. And then he pointed like around the corner and was like, yeah, they're on the bench over there. And I went around the corner, and sure enough, they were on the bench over there. But how am I supposed to know that, dude? I must have missed in Hipster Magazine, where they're like, this fall, we're not putting the lids next to the cups anymore. People figured that meta out too fast. We're gonna put the lids in a totally different area. There we go. And don't even get me started. Oh, he's going off today on the hipster recycling, which is good for the environment, but always a little bit anxiety inducing. You got the green bin, the blue bin, the black bin. I don't know. Is the straw recyclable, compostable, or trash? Is this plastic or bioplastic? Is it made out of an organic polymer? Or is it, you know, corrugated cardboard? I don't know. Food scraps go in the compost. That's easy. But does the bag that the food came in go into the compost as well? I don't know. Does it go into the paper section? Or does it permanently become unable to be recycled as paper because foods have touched it? So many questions. You know, I'm all for making the recycler's job easier, don't get me wrong. But I'm telling you, there's like action. This is, I'm not joking, but I am ignorant. Dude, mom's knife, I love you. I am ignorant. I'll level with you on that one, and that should be obvious. I feel like recycling, sorting, is in need of like a disruption. Like a technological disruption. If you could somehow, and by you, I mean, you know, a team of probably hundreds of trained engineers, could develop a recycling machine that with like 99.9% accuracy could sort whatever recycling you just put in the top of it, that could be used for like restaurants and industrial applications. It might be a close to unsolvable problem right now. I have no idea. I'm just spitballing, for real. But that's like a $1 trillion invention. When I turn 60, and I'm like, oh, poor baby has to sort his own recycling. It's not like that. You know, imagine if you're... I mean, we haven't had leech. Imagine if you're in like the 1800s. You're like, well, someone should invent like a motorized horse that it just, you know, you don't even have to feed your horse. You just get in like some kind of box with wheels and go. Oh, poor baby. Poor baby has to sit on a chair while his horse takes him to the city center. But that, you know what that guy's name was? Henry Ford. That's right. Definitely did not just make that up. I'm just saying, when I'm 50, I don't ever want to walk into a coffee shop and see 18 recycling bins. I want to see one big recycling bin with like a cute robot face, and you just throw everything in the top of it, and it goes, and it spits out like a little cube, and is like, put this in the cube area over there. And the cube, you redeem it for one feel-good point. Anyway, I didn't think about it all the way through. I think that's why, like, a lot of people choose not to recycle. Don't take this the wrong way. Many people watching this probably do not recycle. I understand. It's because you're lazy. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm lazy about many things in my life as well. I don't think we can get that. But, like, let's just be real with one another. You know what an aluminum can is. You know where it goes. Sometimes you throw it in the trash. Why do you throw it in the trash? It's lazy. It's convenience. I kind of dispute the idea, like, a lot of people have this opinion that, you know, well, if they wanted us to do something, then they should make it as easy as possible. What if I told you that, like, as of right now, like, pretty much, I think recycling is as easy as possible. I guess they could maybe make it easier, but also, it'd be easier for a lot of people, but then horrific for, like, a small subset of the population. By being like, hey, just put all your recycling together. Probably some places in the world do this, if I had to guess, but put all your recycling together, and then some dude at a plant will sort through all of your wet garbage and, like, figure out what goes where. Sure, okay. But sometimes things are, like, just as easy as they can be right now. You know, by having the users sorted, they probably save a lot of work. Although I did read an article that was like Canadian, like, misplacing recycling into the wrong recycling bin costs the country like $100 million a decade or something like that. I mean, it's a decade, but it's still a lot of money. What have I... Oh, I pause buttoned it. That's right. I don't know. It's a lot of talk about recycling. It's not convenient to be environmentally conscious. It's not convenient to speak English. It's also not unusual to be loved by anyone. Not unusual to reuse a water bottle. When I see you throwing away a soda can. It's not unusual to heat Earth up. I'm fired. Okay, yeah, I'm fired from the Recycling Board of British Columbia. Fair enough. You know, like, here's an example of how it's inconvenient. That should be obvious. You know, sometimes we'll get takeout. The takeout will come in a biodegradable container or a recyclable container. But maybe it's like soup. We don't need, or let's say stew, or like it's a side dish that's really saucy. In order for us to recycle the container, we actually have to do dishes on our takeout. I'm not saying it as if it's like an egregious thing. It is like 45 seconds. But usually, when you order takeout, you're like, I don't have to do any dishes. So if you have like a little leftovers, you gotta scoop them out into the organics bin, no less. Wash the container and then put the container in the recycling and then take the recycling down. I get it. I get why a lot of people don't do it. Now, you are like, you know, contributing to the destruction of the planet. And I know the argument, even if everybody recycled as much as they conceivably could and did it properly, it still wouldn't. Okay, cool. What a nihilistic view. Well, the other people are doing this bad thing, so I'm going to do it too. That's how we end up with these clogged carpool lanes. I don't know. I don't have any other examples. I thought I would. So this run, dude, you might be saying we're set. We have 2.5 damage. Mom's knife. Fair. But 2.5 damage. 2.5 damage. That's... It might as well... Okay, maybe it might not as well be 0. But it's really, really bad. And sad to say that Contract from Below doesn't really go a long way towards mitigating that. Now, with Mom's Knife, could we win a run on 2.5 damage? Yeah. It won't even, or it wouldn't. I hope it's not won't, because that implies that we'll never solve it. But it wouldn't be miserable. It would be a little bit shoddy, but, you know, I think we can make it happen if we got enough HP. Yo, double tears up. Okay, that's it. It's a mild bonus when you're talking about Mom's Knife, but you'd still rather have it than not have it. To some extent, as of right now, it's like an HP game. If we can get damage, that'll change. But for now, it's like, we're gonna take HP from time to, or we're gonna take damage from time to time. Having the HP required to mitigate that would help out a lot. So we'll take Jesus Juice. It's a damage upgrade of a minor variety, but still. Give up on the idea of boss rush and be happy that you did it last time so you don't have to do it this time. I'm just saying, you know, it's all, the recycling thing was not meant to be preachy. It mostly came out of a place of, you know, all these really, like, little anxieties that happen on a day-to-day basis. I'm a happy person, believe it or not. People think I'm grumpy. That's just because I find many things mildly annoying. But I don't know. This is going to sound a little bizarre potentially, or maybe you'll get it and be like, I feel the same way. I can be annoyed by something without it actually, like, affecting my physiological, emotional, or mental state. Like, if something happens to me that's mildly inconvenient, my brain is like, you're annoyed. But my body has, like, no aggravated response to it. Unless it gets ridiculous. So I'm like, the annoyance is intellectual. Merely intellectual. So it's not actually like I live my life being miserable. I mostly just live my life judging the minute behaviors of others, you know, as a result of the anxieties I myself have when I go out into public. We got 3 tiers upgrades on the same floor. So good. Even with mom's knife. Like the little things, you know, when you're at the deli counter, which I have not done. I'm not going to belabor the point. But I've been doing a lot more meatless stuff and I'm enjoying it. That's all I'm going to say about that. I'm not trying to convert people to a lifestyle of vegetarianism. I still eat meat myself. On Saturday, I ate a bison steak. I don't know, it's probably like 1% of a bison's mass. It was huge. I also thought that all bison went, and this is going to sound stupid, especially for someone that has a bachelor's degree in biology. Just remember that, by the way. If you're in high school right now and you're like, this guy's an idiot. I have at least 4 years more education than you in a relatively specific subject from one of Canada's top universities. And it still means nothing. I'm still a moron. So imagine how dumb you are. Okay, I didn't mean it like that. But that's kind of what I mean. It was like, you know, respect your elders. Unless they're slowing you down at the grocery store. Or driving. I always feel like ageism's a weird one, right? Because, like, there was a time, and it might still be going on, but I feel like for, like, all of my life, you could say something like, hey, I almost got killed by a 100-year-old on the road today. And people would be like, I can relate to that. And now, if you say that, some people will be like, that's a little ageist. And I'm like, you're probably right. Maybe this is an ignorant argument on my behalf, but, like, when Kate and I were coming back from camping last year, a very elderly woman did not signal. This is on the highway, so we're going fast. Merged into our lane while we were in it. I swerved to avoid her. Luckily, nobody was hurt. And when I drove by her, you know, the car is like full of screaming at this point. I looked at her, and she's just dead ahead, staring straight ahead. I'm not saying that that's a situation that could only happen if a person is elderly. What I am saying is almost anything that I say is justified because she almost killed me and my young family. Again, that's probably not the right way to talk about it, but it's the way I felt in the moment, and it's still the way I feel to a certain extent. That, like, you know, they're like, well, you can't say that. I'll be like, well, she almost, you know, led to a fiery wreck that, you know, killed my wife and myself. Or one of the two. It would still be really bad. And they're like, yeah, but you didn't have to be so mean about it. This is one of the situations. Dude, it's happened to me, okay? For real. This is how I know it's not just, you know, the elderly. They're terrible drivers. There's been, I think, like 2 situations that I can remember where I was very much at fault. Let's try this on precise. And both of them are exactly the same. Both of them are like me taking a turn, a pedestrian was in my blind spot, and halfway through making the turn I had to stop, and then they throw up their hands and go like, bro, what the F? Every single time that's happened, both times I should say, I've gone, you know what? Your reaction is completely justified. I hit the brakes, nobody got hurt, but from your perspective, you're just like minding your own business, and then all of a sudden, there's like this death machine that almost hit you. The correct response, though, is to accept that meanness as a symptom of the fact that you almost ended their existence on planet Earth. Now, of course, there are more terrible things you could call this person, I suppose, but it's not really like that. It's just, like, we're lucky, I'll admit. By the time I'm 80, there better be self-driving cars. What did we do to go wrong if there's not, like, fully autonomous driving when I'm 80 years old? 2068. So much time to sort it out. I'm not saying it should be here next week. I'm saying, you know, within my lifetime, I think is a very, very modest expectation. I understand it sucks if you're like 70 now. You know, here's the thing. I'm taking an impolite stance, and it makes me uncomfortable, but I'm going to keep doing it because I think, not that I'm necessarily right, but that I at least want to finish a cogent point here. If you went to a surgeon and they were like, hey, I'm going to be doing your heart surgery, and you were like, you're 90 years old, are you sure you're okay? That would not be an impolite question to ask. If he gave you the choice between having like a 45-year-old doctor and a 90-year-old doctor doing your surgery, how like skeezy would the 45-year-old doctor have to be for you to be like, give me the 90-year-old? That's a sincere question. I would love a sincere answer. If you're such a good person, and I'm not even suggesting there's an ulterior motive, that you're like, I'll take whatever one they assign me. More power to you, dude. Sincerely. I aspire to get to that level of galaxy brain, but I'm not there. I'm like, give me the 45-year-old any day of the week. But if you know, I guess it's not really an unpopular opinion, but if you're like, maybe when you're like turn 65, you should have to pass a new driving test like every 2 or 3 years. There are some people that are like, yo, bro, it's not okay to assume that all old people can't drive. I'm not saying that old people can't drive. I'm just saying the brain, it deteriorates. Driving, you know, is tough, and the consequences are huge. If you pass the test, I would like to think, first off, if I was 70 and I failed my driving test, take me off the road. I don't want to put my 70-year-old body through the effects of a car accident. Secondarily, I mean, it's easy for me to say that when I'm 29, but, and probably like, you know, Earth won't exist by the time I'm 75 anyway. I'm thinking like some kind of asteroid, alien invasion, global pandemic, etc., etc. He's half kidding. Anyway, the point is, you know, if I failed the test, it's good for my safety as well. But if I passed the test, I would be rubbing it in people's faces on like cyber Facebook. I'd be like, check it out, nerds, still got it. I would look forward to that test. You're old. It's not like you got nothing better to do, especially because, you know, very few of us in our generation are ever going to be able to retire. But like, still, you know, you gotta pass the test. I agree with that. But it's also just that, like, even now, at 29, my brain is pretty good, and I'm wiser than I've ever been, but not wise enough to avoid this hot topic of a conversation. But I still notice, like, you know, memories a little fun. It's not quite as sharp as it was when I was, like, 17. When I was 17, you know, who played the lead actor in Short Circuit? Now I know because I just thought of it. It's Steve Guttenberg. But I'm telling you, if you ask me that question in 3 years on Twitch, I'll be like, I don't freaking know. Vicious Stevens. So that's a little bit of a joke as well because he's in the movie. But regardless, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's not like... Let me take an extreme galaxy brain approach. My personal political belief with respect to this is it's not any more ageist to make an elderly person take a driving test now and then to ensure the safety of citizens around them than it is to have like a minimum drinking age. Like, I kind of, when I think of like an 80-year-old being like, oh, you can't take my car away from me, I think of like a 6-year-old being like, I'm very mature for my age, please let me have that gin and tonic. It's like, maybe, but like, I mean, there's no test for it. I was gonna say prove it, but it's medicine, it's science, you know, like, the brain loses something. You might still be good, just take the test. But I don't know, there's also, I think there's like it varies like generation to generation, I'm sure. Anyway, it's fraught with danger. I'm just saying, you know, I do respect the elderly. It's not like I looked at this couple and said, hey, Grandpa, take my more rewards card so I can get the extra points. No, that would have been smart and also helpful. Instead, I just stood there and silently judged them, which I would say is not mean. But you may disagree. And you might be right. And I do get hung up by people my age in the grocery store as well, but it's usually under sadder circumstances where they're like, scraping change together. And again, I guess I could be like, here's a quarter, but call someone who cares. No, but I don't carry change because it's 2018. It's just, it's tough. It's a tough situation, you want to help out, but do you want to foot the whole grocery bill? You go to the cashier and you say, hey, put 25 cents of that on this card? Like, I don't know what the etiquette is like for that with credit cards. It's tough. Anyway, that's my grocery store anecdote. Which led to me being like, I hate old people. Not true. I was trying to think of like a good example of why, but really I just, I have like a certain level of both respect and disdain for everybody I meet, regardless of their age. For the most part, when and I inconvenience people in public as well, and maybe they're nicer than I am, and they're not like, hey, this bald idiot caused me to take an extra 30 seconds at the bus stop today. Almost hit me with his Ford Focus and then said sorry. But, I don't think it's because they're old. I think it's just because, you don't... Not everybody, I guess, like, rehearses every social interaction or tries to min-max it like I do. Like, when I'm at the grocery store, I'm always like, I gotta bag these groceries so quickly that it doesn't impede the person behind me. And it probably makes me look like an idiot. I'm like, stuff. Get out. I'm carrying like 6 bags in one arm. Everybody else, the average person, I think, is a more like laid-back attitude about it. They're like, maybe I'll remember my more rewards card. Maybe I won't. What does it matter? It's like, I think maybe... I don't know. When I retire, I'm going to be one of two ways. I'm either going to be like that and be like, every day's a Saturday. I'm going to pay with quarters. Oh, smelter. Or I'm going to be like, dude, I'm on my way out. Please speed yourself up. Let's take this to avoid possible... Well, actually, now that I think about it, goat head would just be horrible. So, don't do Hush. We can do it later. Make sure you do Dark Room, though. Well, anyway, now that I've alienated a certain chunk of my audience, hey, stop that. It's the driving thing, and you're like, and now stop. No, you're gonna get in trouble. The driving thing is not even like anti-elderly. It's more like symptomatic of the fact that the way we get around is by, using our minds and hands to pilot, a 900-pound freaking steel bullet. Like, that's how time to go to the grocery store. Let me get in my incredibly, like, specifically impressively designed locomotion machine. That's the annoying part. Like, if you look at your cell phone, it's a tough one again. I don't even look at my cell phone at red lights, but I know reasonable people that do. Not when I'm in the car, because they're getting an earful. Because everyone always goes, yeah, look at my phone. And I'm like, well, do you ever, like, not notice that the light's green? And they're like, okay, I see your point, but big whoop, they have to wait an extra 15 seconds. You know I'm not about that life. I am mad at you if you use your cell phone when you drive. Like, highly mad. That's so dumb. You don't need me to tell you this. You don't need a YouTuber PSA. You know it's dumb. They're running ads against it. Basically as bad as drinking and driving, in my opinion, at least. Willfully distracted driving. Why are you looking at your phone for anyway? Like, if the only even semi-valid option is directions. I'm not gonna let you off the hook. You should have handled that before you left. but simultaneously, like, that's the only one I get. If you're looking at Twitter, please, God, just shred your driver's license or cell phone, whichever one means less to you. However, I also understand, and once we get that self-driving car technology working, and I know it's not there yet, but once we get it working 100%, Twitter to your heart's content, man. All of these, like, distracted driving issues, you know, they could be less than a decade or two from being way less important. Now, I understand, you know, you're only as safe as the people around you who may not be using autonomous driving, but you kind of understand where I'm coming from. I hope here. Or maybe I'm coming, like, all off base anyway. Also possible. So I think we should do one room with left hand, just for inertia's sake. Dump this. Hopefully get some better chests. Suck that up. We got a damage upgrade. So our damage stat is still pretty bad, but this run is very, very good. Totally fine, at least. This is our first Mom's Knife run on the new save file. And I hope that the existence of Mom's Knife on this run heralds an era where we will be getting Mom's Knife on like 50% of our runs for a little while. I know if you're watching this, you're like, no, 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 but I'm telling you, dude, I would love it. Selfishly, could really go for some Mom's Knife runs. By the way, I'm one of those people who's like a little pessimistic about technology. Like, there's enough smart people going, AI is gonna kill all of us, that I don't live my life paralyzed by that fear, but like, in my head, I'm like, yeah, we're like slowly careening towards creating a beast that we don't have any concept of at all. But also, like, this is some pretty cool technology out there. Like, Mouth is of the belief that within our lifetime, there is a chance, like a non-zero, genuine chance, that you'll be able to upload your brain into some kind of, like, digital consciousness. I disagree. Here's the thing. Neither of us are knowledgeable about the subject to the point that we could, like, mock anybody for their belief of the issue, right? It's the same thing about, like, I bring this up now and then, but I get annoyed about, like, the intelligent life discussion. People are like, oh, do you believe that there's intelligent life in the universe? And I go, well, I mean, except for us, I don't know. And they go, how could you be so human-centric as to believe that we're the pinnacle of life? It's not about being human-centric, it's about where are they? You know, I believe they could be out there, but I ain't ever seen them. We're not getting any pings back on SETI that they tell us about. You know, if we get a beep boop message from aliens and it has, like, you know, they have a single-stranded RNA-based silicone life form or something like that, I'd be like, you know what? Okay, I believe in aliens. Where you from? You sexy thing, you. But the argument of, like, how could you be so full of humanity to assume that we're the pinnacle is just it's a non-argument. It's the exact same argument about, like, climate change, but in reverse. We're like, you're so full of humanity to think that us, these teeny-weensy little humans, could have an impact on something as large as the planet Earth. Like, you can just use it as an argument for anything. How could you be so Skittle-centric to think that one teensy-weensy little Skittle could put 3 inches on my waistline? Anyway. Again, not political. Opinion, not politics. And science, not politics. Kinda. We've done it. No victory lap on this one. 1 day, but not 2 day. Locust of Death. I thought we got a little bit more than that. That was a much better run than our last one, thanks to Mom's Knife. And thanks to you for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. It's a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. See ya!